Hello, today I'll be showing you how to prepare and stain tissue for a frozen section. We'll start by safely putting a blade on the scalpel handle. Once we have the specimen, ensure it is properly labeled. Make a note of the time specimen was received. Next, measure and record dimensions of specimen. Review patient history to ensure you take appropriate sections. Here are a few recommended supplies to have prepared before starting your frozen sectioning. These include OCT, media, slides, cover slips, blades, chucks, and Cytoseal. Also, familiarize yourself with your institution's cryostat. They may vary from place to place. To prepare the chuck, you should create a large solid base using the OCT media. Make sure the base is free of bubbles. These can create holes in the block. You can also prep these a couple minutes ahead of time, especially if you are receiving a multi-part case. Once the media begins to turn white, it is starting to solidify. Add the tissue to the chuck. Add more OCT media, making sure it fully covers the specimen and that there are no air bubbles. Add a weight to speed up the process. While you wait for the chuck to solidify, you can prep your slides. We will be doing 2 levels, but always check your institution's protocols for specifics. Remove the weight once the block has hardened. The block is now ready to be sectioned. Prepare to face the block by safely adding a new blade to the knife holder. Make sure the blade is tightly locked in place. Remove the chuck from the well. Place the chuck into the chuck holder and ensure it is properly tightened to secure it. To begin facing, unlock the wheel and use the touchscreen controls to change from 5 to 20 micrometers. Advance the chuck and rotate the wheel each time you move the chuck forward. This is an example of a full-faced block. Once you have a full face of tissue, you are ready to begin sectioning at 5 microns. Now we're going to take our first section. If the tissue is too cold or bloody, it may create chatter or flake off. A helpful tip is to place your thumb on the tissue for a few seconds to warm it up. Once you have a good section, there are multiple ways to pick up the tissue. One of them is by quickly dropping the slide onto the tissue section. This will be our first level. Place the slide in 100% alcohol for fixation before staining. For our second level, continue cutting into the block, about 10 to 15 rotations of the wheel. Another method for picking up your section is to lift it directly from the chuck instead of from the blade base. Use whichever method works best for you, or find one you feel most comfortable with. Place the second level in alcohol for fixation. The final step will be to stain the frozen sections with the hematoxylin and eosin stain using your institution's protocol. Here is an example of an H&E protocol. After a brief fixation in 100% alcohol, the slides are dipped in water 10 times and then transferred into the hematoxylin for 1 minute. A helpful tip for staining multiple slides simultaneously is to place them back to back and hold them together as if they were a single slide. Continue to move the slides down the staining line ending in xylene. The slides can remain in the xylene while you prepare to cover slip. Next, we'll prepare to cover slip. There are many ways to cover slip a slide. Here I will demonstrate 2 different ways. Remove the slide from the xylene and gently wipe the excess off with a gauze pad. Make sure you wipe the side without tissue. Add 2 to 3 drops of cover slip media onto the slide. Apply a cover slip at a 45-degree angle and wipe the excess media off. Ideally, you want no air bubbles under the cover slip. Another technique to cover slip is by placing the cover slip media onto the cover slip itself and gently press the slide face down onto the cover slip. Here we have the finished product. 2 frozen section stained H&E slides. Here's the tissue under the scope. After the pathologist has confirmed that no more sections are needed, we will remove the block from the chuck holder. Place the chuck and tissue into an empty cassette to let the OCT media melt. Safely remove and dispose of the blade in the appropriate sharps container. Finally, we can begin cleaning the cryostat. Remember, always leave your area better than how you found it. Make sure to sweep up and collect all shavings using the brushes and dispose into a biohazard waste container. Finish by wiping down all surfaces with 100% alcohol. Decontaminate when necessary according to your institution's protocols. Thanks for watching. Now you could do frozens too.